had a dream, it started with cream. Started with Jay with a pint full of lean. My boy got a Mac, might let that bitch ring. Saturday talker practice for the team. It's Obscure 8 back with another video. In this one, we're gonna break down a Freddie Gibbs type sample slash beat. Like Freddie Gibbs mixed with Alchemist and Madlib. Like some soulful elements that you can spit to with no drums needed. You know, just that vibe, that soulful sample. And we're gonna break down a sample I built from scratch, you know, in that type of vibe. So let's get to it. So with this one, we're gonna run through pretty quickly the main elements used to put this together. Let's start with the piano. So real simple. All right, so simple chords with the piano, simple chords, E minor. And then we go up to F major, and then back down to a D minor. So E minor, F major, D minor. And that's pretty much the foundation of it. So let's move to the keys, which is this Rhodes electric piano. So the electric piano is just a stab, you know, it's in the same note range. It's just a stab to give some element, some texture. What you'll find out is it's not about what you're playing all the way through, but it's all the different types of elements, the ear candy that get you in the vibe, in the mode. And then next we're gonna go with this wah guitar. It's a live guitar. Use the Fender Strat, of course. You know, my guitar of choice, the Fender Strat. This is the guitar part. So the guitar part was created using Amplitude. We're really using the Universal Audio LA610 MK2 channel strip going on the way in, direct in from the guitar to the channel strip. And then using Amplitude for the effects. And I use Amplitude, and then I use the RV7000 reverb. And the preset I use is clean wah. I wanted something clean, but I'm also controlling it through a pedal I have on the floor. I'm controlling this simulated wah pedal with a pedal I have on the floor to give it that real, you know, wah wah sound. And with this one, you'll see that these automation lanes represent how it's moving as the guitar is being played. So with the guitar, I'm still playing with the same chord structure as the piano. I'm not going outside of that, just playing around with the notes within that range. And then after that, I use the ARP. You know, I use the ARP Odyssey. So basically, I just added some simple synth stabs to it to give it some texture again. So really, that's just the E note. I'm just hitting the E note, and then I dropped it back down to the D. And I recorded that in a live from the analog synth, the ARP. The next sound used were these key stabs from this Vox Continental refill pack from Jiggery Pokery. It's a Reason refill, which you can add sounds to Reason through. So I added these stabs, and it's really just one note, the E. And then the D. Before it goes into the next loop. Next sound is the bass. The bass gives it that rhythmic pocket that kind of replaces what the drums may do in terms of swing. So if you're going to go with a sample that has no drums or light drums, then make sure you have elements to kind of make up for that rhythm, to keep it flowing and keep the artist on beat or to keep the artist in pocket. So I use the bass for that. So here's the bass. Here's the bass by itself. And that's really just the E. It's just the E, and then I go up an octave. And then I go to the F, and then up an octave. And then that D is again right before it basically loops over again. So that's the bass. Real simple, but everything together gives it that vibe. So let's play what we have so far. Next thing is this bass clarinet from one of my favorite plugins, which is by Audio Modeling, and it emulates wind instruments, from trumpets to reeded instruments to violins, strings. They have a whole suite of instruments that basically you can play with wind controllers. You can play with whatever type of MIDI controller you like, and as long as you're feeding it different types of information, it's going to emulate the sound of that instrument. With this one, I use the bass clarinet preset, and this is what it sounds like by itself. And I added some effect to it. And the effect I added was, for one, I dropped it in a room. With a lot of my samples, I put them in rooms. I model how it would sound in a room. So with this one, I put it says flute, but it's really just a bass clarinet. And I put it in this room. This particular one is a concert hall. This is Virtual Sound Stage by Parallax Audio. That is the main thing I use for space and dimension. So with this, I put it in there, and you'll hear later how the vocals are arranged. It's basically sitting in the middle. I could play with the panning. I could put it to the left or right, but I'm having it sit in the middle. And that's it with the bass clarinet. So let's move to the vocals, which is the most important part with these type of samples. You need a soulful vocal. That's what sets it apart from just pure instrumentation. It gives it that character. It gives it that feel. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to add my own vocals and then have somebody else come in later and rock out to it based on that type of feeling and vibe. With this one, I might just leave the vocals alone and put it out as is. Again, this one is going out as a royalty-free sample. I'm putting out singles for a short period. This is going to be one of them. So you can play with it, have fun, make beats, go crazy with it. Tag Obscure8 on Instagram or YouTube, and let us know what you cook up with it. With the vocals, I have about 6 parts. It's 5 parts of background vocals and then 1 lead, which makes up 6. And then, as you can see earlier, I arranged it in Virtual Sound Stage by Parallax Audio. So I have all of my vocals spread apart. Like, imagine a vocal group. Everybody's not standing on top of each other. That's the thing about spacing and dimension. So some people are further away from the mic. Some people are further away to the left, further to the right. So you have to think about these things to have a realistic sound. So I arranged everything. I have the lead kind of sitting in the front, and this is how it sounds. So that's pretty much the sample. So what makes this one special is I have a reference track, I have a reference verse that I use basically to build the sample around and get levels and make sure that the sample is just not too overbearing. The beat/sample is not too overbearing. That's one thing you have to think about. You need enough space for the artist. If you have no drums, then there's going to be a lot more focus on the vocals and the instrumentation. So everything has to play well together. And this is how it sounds all together with the reference, verse, and the beat / sample. I had a dream, it started with cream. Started with Jay with a pint full of lean. My boy got a Mac, might let that bitch ring. Saturday talker practice for the team. Never no instigation, round screaming emancipation. Let us free, try to be peaceful, give them a pass. Now I'm too mad, I shot him a 3. Hard. So let me know what you think. This sample again is gonna be under royalty-free, the royalty-free singles. So you can get this sample minus the vocals, and then you can do your thing, make your beats, whatever, make $1 million, have fun. I'm gonna see you on the next one. Again, this is Obscure 8. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and we'll be back with another one.